That's how I feel. I'm the Michigan coach.
It's so appropriate that you're wearing the Michigan coach hat with the Michigan shirt, because that's exactly how I felt when, you know, I had a little break from work. I watched the Tigers game a little bit. I saw we were up 3-0. I'm thinking we're doing good.
Who's got a
But you know
fan
what?
going?
Huh?
What?
Who's got a fan going?
I mean,
Turn your fan off, bro. We can just hear it.
It's hot in here.
I didn't even hear the fan going.
I
can,
fan.
I can hear
I
it.
can hear it.
Chris, you got that parental hearing now. You hear everything.
No, it's in the mic. The fan is in the mic.
Yeah, it's in the mind. Hell, I probably had the parental hearing and such, and now I ain't having kids.
Dang.
But you sound like a youth coach, like a youth life coach. You're like, give it up for your youth life coach, Deacon Bird, and you sitting there. Hello, children. How are y'all doing today? I am your friend.
Yeah, and you want to wit? Well, you know, I'm not gonna try to do it.
Don't you?
Thank you. And you, sir, will be the person who, if I was back at Eastern, and if I was going through the rec, and if I was just trying to get right there towards, you know, where the exercise equipment was and such, you'll be right there at the front desk, or trying to play Fortnite with somebody and such, getting that ass kicked and such, while I'm trying to go through my workout. And then you'll ask some girl over there saying, hey, how are you doing? Would you like some coffee and such? Can I take you out for a date? And she would say, no.
Let's not talk about women right now.
Hey, hold on. Pause.
Marcel came in on a 10 with his phone in his hand.
I'm just no. You just went way off the rails on that one, man. I just was having some fun with your voice. You insulted like my entire college career there. Hold up now.
God damn.
I mean,
the entire college career.
I mean, it was not in my intentions to insult your college career. Know that I know that it was insulting your college career. But thank you for letting me know. So my apologies for not doing it sooner. Go ahead, Chris.
Bruh, oh man, I swear. Yeah, let's go ahead and get this started. And please don't.
Let's. We're already gonna step on a few people's toes on this episode. So
don't do that all the time.
I mean, yeah, but this one is more.
I feel like we don't.
This one's more. You know, we don't really step on people's toes, but today's episode we're gonna, you know, touch on some things. We might even get referenced by Ted Cruz. You never know.
Hey, might as well. I mean,
I wish a person would.
Oh my God! If Ted Cruz would have came in a political debate and referenced my podcast, oh my gosh!
That'll be crap you don't want.
Oh, hey, I want it. I'm starting this whole conversation on him.
Exactly. We want the smoke.
Can we do a quick pause and talk about the fact that we have a new Supreme Court justice, which is awesome.
We will get to that in the show.
Okay.
We will get to that. And Walter, you can bring it up. You have the honors of bringing it up.
And not to mention, we got my top 5 music producers.
So we're going to talk about that on another episode.
Yeah,
we need to talk.
We definitely need to talk.
It's my personal choice. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
but of all time, we need to talk. It's just a good episode. You just sparked the anger in me, so I just wanted to talk about it. You know,
gang banging.
Speaking of gang banging, we're gonna talk about everything about this, plus a lot more. We're gonna be talking about CRT, critical race theory, and some institutions that America must change in order for the country to be better, in my opinion. Well, that's what we're going to talk about right after this. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome back to the KrisCross Corner Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Canty. We got Marcel Smith. We got Christopher Bird. And, ladies and gentlemen, we have the return of Walter Wheatthins. We're back on
one
the
of these
show.
days we're gonna get like a soundboard or something, and that's gonna be programmed in there.
I'm working on it.
Like that's legitimately gonna be programmed in there, isn't it?
It'd be like the Simpsons game. If you just press the button,
I got a soundboard and a voice changer coming up real soon.
Goodness gracious. Well, welcome back, everybody.
Roger.
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about critical race theory and my top 10 institutions that America must change. But right now, we're gonna talk about what's going on in the city. What you doing, Detroit? Now,
we need a tag for that too, like a dun or something like that.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
But can we talk about how the Red Wings and the Pistons are ending, but then we got the Tigers and the Lions coming up later this year? It's
Actually, the Tigers have a much higher ceiling of winning than the Lions do.
Actually, their first five games the Tigers played since Friday, they've won 2 and they lost 3.
I'm gonna
and
that is indeed a 40%, my guy.
And we're in last place in our division.
I'm gonna put this out there, and then you know what? I'm gonna attach my name to it. My prediction for this year: the Tigers won about 77 games last year. I'm not saying they're gonna win 100, but I am saying we are making playoffs this season. And when we make playoffs, I want a reference back to this episode with my name on it and such. I'm saying it right now. I myself, Kris, saying that the Detroit Tigers are going to the playoffs.
Kris, Kris? See, I was thinking they might hit the same record, but they'll make a wild card. The thought of wild card.
That's still the playoffs.
Look, I love
playing game. You know it.
Look, man, I love the Tigers. I loved baseball. My first team I played on was definitely like the Tigers. We had the D and everything.
Was the Frosted Flakes?
Basically,
hey, shoot,
chill.
Sounds
but
good right now.
No, but I love my Tigers, but I don't think we're gonna make I think we'll make the playoffs next year, and I think we'll be in a better spot of going for the pennant in like 3 years. But I don't think we're doing it this year. So for that, I see that, and I'll bet you on that one. We'll discuss that later.
Yes, we will. I'm saying
Kris said on April 12th, 2020. April 12th, 2022.
At 9:26 p.m.
Hold on, this pencil's stupid.
On a podcast that should have started at 9.
Yes, but it started at 9:26, but it's okay. For the 2 people who are watching right now, thank you for tuning in. We're gonna start doing these recorded and doing them and releasing them on YouTube and Facebook because some people don't like to show up on time. But 9:25, Kris said. Kris said that the Detroit Tigers.
Yes, I want proof.
I'm writing it. I want in red ink. I'm writing it in red ink too.
I want the super red. I want the red ink that you were scared to death to see when you were in elementary school if you did wrong on your papers. So I want that type of red ink.
Okay, I have it right here.
Yes, I want to see that. Yep. Yes, I did.
That writing is horrible.
Marcel, shut the hell up.
Hey, where my pizza at?
Was that pizza?
Yeah, it was.
No, it's spaghetti.
Oh. It looked like from a distance because they're kind of like gliding.
Either way, you wasn't getting any.
That's true.
I mean, if you want to describe your entire college career again, but hey, man, you be my
Anyway, moving on to number 2.
I would like to point out for the record that was not my entire college career, only a very, very, very flawed minor part of it, and even then,
graduate school.
I never sat there and played Fortnite at any time I worked.
That is true.
I don't have Fortnite mobile.
Dang.
I never had it.
Plus, it runs down your battery. Not that I know. Anyway, are Detroit speed bumps worth it? In some areas they are needed, and in some areas it's like, why would you put a speed bump there when this is like, it's hindering like the emergency services, in my opinion.
Can you imagine an ambulance going over a speed bump?
I
Oh
did
my
it.
God.
Oh my lord!
Be like, look, he was flatlining until we hit the bump. Next thing you know, he jumped right back up and said, "All right, I'm good." We let him off about a mile.
All right,
later.
how much is this emergency EMS bill? All right,
Right.
open. Let me off right here. Illinois 6 Mile.
Right.
Mm-mm.
I'm about to
In
say,
my neighborhood, we literally got speed bumps, man. I just saw an ambulance come down and just.
Dang, everything fell
Great.
over.
Hey, man, you got the medical equipment about to fall over. Can you imagine somebody's like doing CPR in the ambulance and such, and all of a sudden hit a speed bump? It'd be like, oh wait, crap. What number was on? Was I on like 29? Was I on 32? Oh, but now I got started over. Okay.
The person getting the CPR just gave him the look that the Undertaker gave Goldberg at Crown Jewel. He was like nigga.
I can't even do that. I can't even do that face, but it's so funny. But it's funny for all the wrong reasons.
It is. But for all the good reasons that we're happy today, Walter Wood had some good news. What happened in Washington?
You brought this up right as I was about to bite into spaghetti too.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Dinner gets started a little late sometimes. So yeah, we have a new Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
And that is wonderful. And that is fantastic. But for all of the glory that comes with that, and we've made another milestone, and I am proud of us for that. I want to take a quick second and talk about a certain senator. Not Ted Cruz, because Ted Cruz is a bit of a tool, and we all know that.
I'm going to talk about him later. Go ahead.
I want to talk about Rand Paul for a second.
Oh.
Did y'all see what he did?
This man. Go ahead, Walter.
Okay, so for anybody who didn't see it, or don't really know the process for confirmation hearings like that, they all sit there and they ask questions relating to the judge and their past and their president and all that. And Ted Cruz did a bunch of stuff that we just don't have the time to get into with that. I think he actually made a children's book #1 on the New York Times bestseller. During the confirmation hearings. That is a fact. Google it. But for the actual confirmation itself, right? So you have all the senators go in and they all sit there. There are a few rules with it, like you have to have a tie on. So a lot of senators decided to give their no vote by just not showing up in proper attire. They're not allowed on the Senate floor. They're out of there. But Rand Paul sat in the room for like 15 minutes, right? Like, and the filibuster has been dead since like 2017, officially, according to the U.S. government. This man sat in a room for 15 minutes to give a no. I mean, it was completely unnecessary at that point. She had enough to win a confirmation. But at the end of it, he just kind of went like this, and that was that. Like,
dang.
I'd rather see that than to have MTG laugh the entire way in there. That was disgusting.
This right here, this is the true meaning of player hating right here. This is the true definition of player hating. Like, dude, why are you making it more than what it got to be? Why?
I'm sorry. Don't one of the senators or congressmen isn't one of them engaged to a 17-year-old a while back?
I don't know. I just know that
you guys don't know that if you become government, you get certain luxuries afforded to you. Like there's currently I believe it is somebody in like our state senate or our state house or whatnot. They got arrested for reckless driving or so. I can't exactly remember what, but they're like, yeah, the license is suspended, but they have a special license permitted to them that allows them to drive during this time. Man,
what,
bro? They go back the license.
It was like you can't use this license, but this license you can use.
If I don't say white privilege, I don't know what does.
Well, you're right, but from my understanding, what it basically is, and I mean, I didn't do a lot of research into this or any at all, really. So take that with a grain of all salt. But basically, what it is like, okay, you don't have a license, but you're still a government official who needs to be in places, so we're going to give you this like permit license kind of thing that allows you to still be able to commute, even though your license is like null and void.
Yeah, it's called a bus pass. Try it sometime.
God damn, I said. God damn.
Hey, Marcel, you good over there though? I've seen a whole nother side like coming out tonight. Is you good over there, bro? My brother.
I'm fine. I'm just sick of the bull. All right, man. Some people just.
Oh, trust me, there's more bull coming. There's more bull coming.
Just need to get out.
Oh, there's more bull coming. Hold on, Marcel. I got one for you.
Oh man.
Here we go. So we're gonna go. We're gonna move on to Europe.
Oh man.
Europeans, man. Europeans. I tell you.
What happened this time?
So people in London are complaining about the spicy Popeyes chicken sandwich for being too, quote unquote, too hot. Now, these are exact words from Europeans on Twitter. Now, he said that I love spicy foods like red curry or ketchup. Ketchup, everybody.
No, not ketchup.
But hold on. But the Popeyes chicken sandwich burger is way too much. Every time I've had it, it's blown my mouth off and left me in discomfort for hours. I'm amazed that such a mass market product has the heat turned up to 11. Now, this is someone who replied to that. Agreed. I eat sexy dishes like drunken noodles and lemon rice all the time. But the Popeyes burger is completely over the top. I only had a few bites before I had to stop eating from the pain. I won't be going back unless they change the recipe.
You know what? Let me say this.
You said ketchup? Hold on, y'all. I gotta
wait a second. They can eat red curry, but they can't eat a damn chicken sandwich.
Now let me say this. I will cut somewhat of the benefit of the doubt. Somewhat. Only because some people may have different taste buds, especially depending on what region of the world that you're in. With that being said, if ketchup is spicy to somebody, then I have no idea what type of taste buds you're working with.
I think
what taste buds that even I didn't even know existed. That right there is interesting to say.
He said ketchup.
Are they just going to neglect the fact that there is a regular option for the chicken sandwich?
There is, but they wanted to try the spicy one.
I'm gonna have a comment about this, and the only thing I can say is I want to hear what like Mel B and Idris Elba are saying about it.
Oh Lord!
Because if they say it's spicy, then we sit there and go, maybe the English Popeyes is a little bit on like the hotter end. But yeah, I've never actually met anybody who thought that ketchup was spicy, so that's a new one.
I've never met anybody.
Never.
Never.
There is some spicy ketchup though, so I think you're talking about that kind of stuff.
I heard there's spicy ketchup, there's spicy mustard and stuff, but I'm never.
But regular ketchup, like Heinz,
ketchup's like the second mellowest condiment there is. The first is mayonnaise. That says something.
No, mayonnaise can't be spicy.
I'm talking about plain mayonnaise, man.
Hey man, look, we don't talk about mayonnaise around here. If it ain't Hellman's, I ain't eating it. Okay.
Whoa! You never had Duke's mayonnaise? Never had Duke's? Bro, they got that vinegar in there, man. You got to try it out.
This episode is gonna be a contradiction. We got black people talking about mayonnaise on a CRT episode.
If it not Hellman's or Duke's and such, then okay, I'll consider.
Maybe the conservatives are right.
This is funny. This is just hilarious.
I don't like mayonnaise, but to that credit, I also don't like eggs.
You also
like hot potato salad.
Eggs? You don't like eggs?
It happens. Some people don't like eggs.
No, I don't like eggs. My grandma didn't. No, I'm not. But my grandmother was, and I was around her a lot as a kid, so we never had it, or we didn't really eat eggs.
That's fair.
And I mean, I've had them. I don't like the way they taste. And everybody goes, "Oh, you should eat them like this." I have eaten them.
You should eat them like this. They're the same eggs.
I've eaten them like 20 different times, like in 20 different ways, and they all taste the same. I don't like the undertaste of it, but no, I don't like mayonnaise. I don't like the way it tastes. I don't like the consistency of it. It's like that scene in Undercover Brother, right? Like you sit there and take 2 squares of hot sauce to eat it. Yeah, that's me. Like I will literally throw out the bun if I get if it's on the hamburger. Like I was at Wendy's the other day, and I was like, "Oh, let me get this no mayonnaise," and she was like, "Okay, I can do that." And I get it, and I bite into it, and I'm like, "Man, this tastes weird." And I'm like, "Oh, no, the mayonnaise." So I literally like
force feed you Hellman's by the spoon, not on a cracker, by the spoon.
Not a spoon.
Who hurt you?
What else we got, Kris? What else is going on, man?
I just wanted to like tie this all in because we're gonna talk about everything we talked about today was just making the far right just more mad. We talked about
that's not hard to do.
We talked about the Supreme Court judge going in, which they hated. We're talking about spicy stuff, which they also hate. And now we're going to talk about critical race theory, y'all. We're going to talk about the South Dakota governor, Kristi Noem, signed an executive order aimed at restricting the teachings of inherently divisive concepts to K-12 schools. Now, we all know what she's talking about. She's talking about history, social studies, and about how to teach their kids what happened in this country.
Can I say something?
No, which they have a right, which they have a right to, put people in power to teach their kids. But are we putting people in to teach them fabricated history? Or are we putting them in there to teach history? And we are going to start with Marcel Smith.
I've talked to like many teacher, graduate assistants, people who try to get into that system, and they've always agreed with me that when I say, if you're
what system are you talking about?
What
system are you talking about?
Teaching. Whoever wants to be a teacher.
Oh, okay.
And they completely agree with what I say is that if you're planning to become a teacher in history at whatever level, you should be comfortable in telling the whole story, regardless of how you feel. If the saying comes true to life, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Why do you think what's going on right now? I mean, it's not like this shit is like normal or anything, but CRT, we've been pushing that for the longest, all right? We've been waiting for somebody to tell the whole story and not just blow past it. I don't think this is like a good opportunity. To me, this is like a good opportunity to teach kids what really happened and not wait until like college to want to like say like, damn, that really happened. I was all wrong. Because I guarantee you it's kind of messed up when they wait that long to spring the truth on you. It's like they don't trust you,
Right. Okay. Walter Wheatons.
Okay, so first off, sometimes I hate you. Second off,
only sometimes. Okay.
Anyways, second off, in history, we're taught to teach about the grand narrative, and that's very broad. So a quick history on history, right? It's the grand narrative is basically like what are all of the major events that happened since the beginning of recorded history and a little before to where we are now and where we could be kind of in the future. We're like speculative history is seldom taught because it's hard to teach the history about something that hasn't happened yet. But if we take it back, I mean, we're talking in critical race theory. I don't necessarily think it's taught in schools, at least not in the way that people are or people think it is, and we can get on that a little later. But to Marcel's credit, he's right, but he's also wrong because I'll explain. So you're right in the sense of like the whole story needs to be told, and no well-educated person is going to disagree with that. And the thing is, and I think that how students are being taught now is massively incorrect. But I disagree with the kids are learning the whole story. They're just learning it differently. Like, granted, I think all of us went to school in school districts that were mostly like Afrocentric, right? Like most of the kids were black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like in the school district I grew up in, I mean, we used to have Jewish holidays off when I was in like elementary school, right? And so it was a pretty good mix. And even then, they taught us the whole story. But it's hard to get kids to and this is a thing I think. If there was a case being made for like CRT being taught in schools, I think this is where it comes in. It's hard to teach kids about things that they can't that they can't comprehend, right? Because you can understand something without necessarily comprehending it. Like if I tell a 5-year-old kid racism is bad, they're going to understand that racism is bad. They're not going to understand why it's bad. And you can sit there and say, oh, because people are equal or because this, because that. But the thing is, elementary school kids, for the most part, until like towards the end of 5th grade, don't really have a good comprehension of the thing of massive complexity such as that. And yes, racism is complex. It's complex. It's not simply, oh, I hate you because of this. Why do we hate that, right? Like what's the deep root there? Like, and that's the thing that sort of, from my understanding at least, that critical race theory kind of addresses is the racism is there. Why is it there? And in addressing that is how history gets taught as well. But again, I don't think that that anybody under the age of probably 16 can really start to understand a situation like I guess what is being taught in a traditional critical race theory, which is why it's a graduate level law class, or not a class, but why it's taught in graduate level law classes,
right? Or graduate level, race. And those kind of classes.
Yeah, something where the fields that pertain to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Christopher Bird.
Well, when I first heard the report, I immediately said, "Well, it's South Dakota. Are we even surprised? Are we?
Yeah.
Are you surprised? But taking personal feelings out of context, and such. Going back, even what Marcel was saying earlier, a lot of people will want to, share, whatever type of, work that has been happening, whether it's in this country, just in the planet in general and such. And I do feel that when you're in those early ages, especially considering whatever environment that you're being born and raised in, that can really have a huge outlook into how you see the general world. When you're usually in those adolescent years, those are the most fragile of years because you're figuring things out. You learn about life, you learn about, friends and what's right and what's wrong. Well, when you have people around, whether they're adults or whether they're family members, your view on life is going to be in direct correlation into what you see other people, say or do, or how they may conduct themselves. If you think that if you see that, hey, an adult is doing or teaching something that quote unquote, that may not be morally or ethically correct, you and your subconscious mind will be thinking, hey, if they're doing it, it must be okay for me to be doing it later on in my life, which is not always right. Going back to what Walter was saying earlier, with being in DPS school system where it was majority of other African Americans, in the school district, whether it was other students or whether it was teachers as well. I feel that it really is something that's not just in places like South Dakota, but just across the country, to where we really have to actually start saying, hey, look, this is what happened. These are facts. These are things that actually happened that led up to these events, and just putting the entire truth out there and such. The truth hurts, for a lot of people and such. It may not be, the most quote unquote, comfortable for people to end up hearing that, when we were brought into this country in the first place, that we did the textile work in the north and the agriculture work down in the south and such, that we basically built this country. It's not. It's not. Go ahead, Walt.
I'm going to say real quick. I wouldn't say that we technically. No. Let's stop saying that and just be honest. We built this country.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be what it wouldn't be. This there's no way that America could survive without literally crapping on somebody. And for the past 400 years, they've chosen us, and we're tired of it. And I'll let you continue, but that's all I wanted to say.
In
Yeah,
fact, Walter, I'll be willing to add on to that. If it wasn't for minorities like us, Asians, Latinos, Latinx, white people wouldn't even know how to wipe their own ass.
I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah.
I
had a hole.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think you're saying it the right way. But I agree with what you're saying. A lot of what happens in this country wouldn't be able to happen without
us. So much for Martha Stewart endorsement, but it's okay.
But like I said, consider the fact that all the things I just mentioned, it's not coming for a lot of people to really understand the fact that hey, we built this country. A lot of people may not want to hear that, but if we're going to be complete honest and such, especially when you're in the educational system where you're literally raising the next generation of future, people who are actually going to be hopefully taking this country forward and not backwards and such, you gotta let folks know as far as, hey, this is what happened, this is why it happened, these were the aftermaths of what happened, and so on and so forth. Like, and I know we mentioned on the podcast, I can't remember which time it was, but consider the fact that lynching just became an official federal hate crime in 2022.
Sure did.
I would like to point out that Rand Paul is also the reason that took so long.
That's too damn long.
I thought it was Rand Paul. God damn.
What did you say in the room and just say?
And all that, but the fact that Juneteenth was just recognized as an official federal holiday.
Some people still don't know what it means, but that's okay. We'll get to that in a second.
It's like some people don't know what it is. So my thing is like, it's one of those things to where you have to really, really actually say, hey, look, this is what happened, and just going on with it, man. Like seriously, that's my 2 cents about that, Charles. But
while we're on the topic of the educational part of this, I don't know if you guys have heard this. It's a similar narrative. I don't want my kids to learn about race. This is also being said by the same people who go, "Oh, I don't want my kids to learn about homosexuality." I'm hearing very shocking, worrisome, shockingly similar.
What are they saying?
Narratives to this than when California, or not California, but when Texas and Florida were in the middle of passing their anti-gay laws, or their gay in school law. They don't say gay bills.
Okay. So not teaching,
Yeah. It's a product of, I don't want my kids to learn about that, and so because I don't want them to, nobody can, and that's more like that. I mean, they have the right to do that in their own home. However, when they're in school, when they're in the real world, they're going to encounter either hetero, they're going to encounter homo, they're going to encounter plenty other people that they're white, black, Asian, purple, blue. Well, and
Aquaman, they're going to encounter all those stuff. So
and
you have to learn about it.
And again, that's what I'm saying. That's what's worrying me. Is it like the more that I hear this, then my next question is, okay, well, when do the bills start coming in that say, hey, look, we're not going to talk about race, or hey, if my child talks, or
that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I know, but I don't mean just in schools, man. Like if the way this is going and the way this country is kind of headed, and I don't know if you guys have seen this as well, is that we're shockingly going back in reverse. We are very quickly heading towards the 1950s.
Yeah, I was about to say that because if you like what you said about the don't teach gay, don't say gay. If you teach kids, when I say kids, kids meaning they're still in their formative years. When you teach kids not to know about race, one, which we're going to talk about today,
right.
Gender / sex /
identity,
feelings or identity when they're kids, how are we supposed to move on from 2022? Obviously, how are we supposed to move on from now? How are we supposed to move on from 1990? How are we supposed to move on from 1950s when all of us on this call weren't even thought of as a person basically. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
How are we going to move on past 1865 when we were emancipated, quote unquote? How are we supposed to move on from 19 or 18, 17, 76? When they signed that paper?
Yeah.
Shut up, Walter. How are we going to move on from? How are we going to move on from 1609? How are we supposed to move on from all this? So my thing is, we can't. I'm gonna take a thing out of Trump. How are we supposed to be great? How is America supposed to be great if we can't teach our kids how to be great?
Well, here's the ace to the Trump card I'm gonna put out there and such. You know, it's funny because I'm in Indiana. When Indiana and Trump go together like
peanut butter and jelly.
Peanut butter.
There we go.
Yeah, peanut butter jelly such. You know, the funny thing is that I still see, you know, a whole lot of say, you know, of whether it's Trump flags, whether it's for 2020 or whether it's for 2024 and such, you know, a lot of that a lot of people's places. And if people would like to say, you know, out of the 2022 quote unquote make America great again as such, or for 2024, where I actually say, you know, save the bull, like, you know, stop the bullshit or whatever the case may be, or save America. Well, to that, if you really think about it, you know, was America ever great for people of color or minorities?
Even for white people, was it ever great?
Exactly.
Was it ever great?
If you want to get down to the very root of it and such, was it ever?
Well, and that's the thing. Collectively speaking, as a whole, for about most of everybody that's lived in America from 1609 to now has not had a good time. In theory, like the make America great again and to keep America great and save America again and no more BS and all that, yada yada yada. Like, yeah, and for some people it was like America was great. For certain families, America was great. It was truly a land of opportunity and prosperity, and some people capitalized on that. Like I know I have some members of my family, both now and in generations before, who have done quite well for themselves, and they've always been able to go back and help their community, right? Like that was a big thing.
Yeah. But did they have a harder road to obtain that sense of prosperity than other people?
I'll let you read my 15-page research paper on my great grandfather who did have those, like him and 30 other doctors started the first black hospital in Detroit. It took a lot. Huh?
Where was this hospital? Was it downtown?
Dunbar Hospital. It no longer exists.
Where was it? What streets?
Yeah, I would love to hear. I would love to.
I gotta look it up. I don't remember exactly, but basically, and that, like, I mean, they made themselves a lot of money doing it. I'm not gonna lie to you on that. But aside from that, I mean, they still struggled. They still faced hardship. They still had to deal with the same things. And so even for them, right? Like even for people who were highly successful, who were professionals and who were successful, they still struggled. And that's sort of what we're doing now. We as a country, as a whole, are we actually as a world are living the best we ever have. It's true. Yeah. The way modern medicine is now, you know, like if you get cut, you have a significantly less chance. It's still a non-0% chance, but you have a much significantly less chance of losing your arm because, you know, you got cut. Exactly. Like we're making strides. Generationally speaking, this generation, the Gen Zs, you know, the idiots on TikTok all day, they are technically speaking the smartest people who have ever lived.
Now, I will say, even though yes, they can be, but if you really want to think about it, such, if you want to split up between, you know, the Gen Z, the millennials, which is all of us, and such, and then even dating backwards for that, obviously the boomers and such. If you really think about it, if you fast forward 100 years from now, when we're all dead at this point and such, if you look at the millennials and such, that generation, right, the millennials right there, that generation and such, changed everything.
Millennials, right. And then before then, the baby boomers changed everything.
Millennials, and the boomers, like really changed that. And a lot of Gen Zers, a lot of Gen Z right now and such, they are. You would think that even though like the boomers and millennials set the bar so high, that they would set it even higher. than what it
They will. They will.
Which I'm sure.
Just give them a chance. The oldest Gen Zers are like 14,
20.
15 right now.
No, the oldest Gen Zers are like 23.
Okay. So yeah, they're about Walter's age. I'm playing
like
Walter.
a year younger than you jerk.
I know. That's why I'm calling you a Gen Z.
Look, anyway.
I don't know why this couple of counts of drag race is not hot right now. This is not thinkable. But anyways,
my goodness, no, but you leave 5 Mile alone. Look, anyways, the point is, like I said, as a whole, as a planet, we are getting smarter. We are getting this. We're doing that, and in the midst of all of that, we're still having these struggles. We're still having these issues, and it's not necessarily like the old world, because most of those old worlders, like the truly racist, like the I'm gonna string a darkie up today kind of racist, those guys are long dead. Some of them do still exist. Some of them still exist. But
you know when you have a dry erase board and you erase it and you still got a little smear, those are the last 5 people that are still here.
No. Here's the thing. You're wrong. That smear, like that little extra smear there, that's the newer generations.
Oh, those are the Charlottesville people.
I referenced that earlier today. Like unironically in conversation, straight up.
And we're going to talk about that also as well later today.
Yeah.
In my soliloquy.
Oh, your soliloquy.
Because I didn't get to go yet.
That's fair. And yeah, but that's the thing is we're starting to see these things, and we have some of those older people who are still saying, "Hey, look," and some of them are very, very quite influential, which is problematic because now. And I was talking to a friend about this, about sort of like the Republican Party as a whole. In recent years, and he brought up a good point. He said Bush caused the death of neoconservatism, which I agree with, and it directly led for like the Trump idealism, which is what's currently in the Republican or what's currently in the Conservative Party now. And it's staggering because those are the people who have no idea what they're doing, and they're still like they have no idea how to be racist, but they're still being racist. They're like, we want what's best, while alternatively saying, well, let's not talk about racial issues. And to an extent, I agree. I don't think kids should have to learn about race. However, everybody in here, everybody that's in this call right now will agree that we didn't have a choice to learn about race.
True.
Right? Like we just didn't have a choice to learn about race. It wasn't an option for us.
But is it a bad thing for people who aren't like, us or people of color to know that race is a thing?
Not at all. I think everybody should. What I'm saying is I don't think that everybody can comprehend it at a young age.
True. And I will get to that in my soliloquy.
Yeah. But it's funny because like they can absorb, watching mindless hours of TikTok or whatever the case may be, or Coco Melon or for whatever the case may be. But
don't take Coco Melon down with me, okay?
Hey,
Chris likes Coco Melon.
We're gonna put it out there. We're gonna put it out there and such. But it's I don't know.
Right.
Just I like to call things sometimes selective amnesia or so. But that's just me. But
yeah,
I don't want to take up too much time from your eloquent soliloquy.
Very eloquent soliloquy that I came up with.
Don't give him an eloquent tag. It's just not. It's just not there.
He deserves. Hey, Kris deserves the eloquent tag. Okay.
No, we do not.
Yes, he does.
Right,
no, he do not.
All right, Walter. That's strike one for both of y'all.
Trying to throw me back in court. I dare you.
We're gonna do
this
court.
No. We're not doing this.
The world versus Walter and myself. Anyway, so what critical race theory is basically teaching people, white or black, purple or green, gay or straight, that race has always been the axis for everything in this country, whether you like it or don't, whether you feel offended by it or not. This country was founded, hey, yo, look at those people. They don't belong here. Let's kick them out. Oh, look at those people. Let's take them and bring them over here to help us out. Oh, look at those people. They're already living here. Let's kick them out. That's basically what America is. So racism is not always conscious, explicit, or readily visible. You know, it's off. I mean, CRT is basically teaching us that it is very structural and it's very systemic. Systemic and structural racism are forms of racism that pervasively and deeply they're embedded in our systems, our laws, unwritten or written, arbitrary or right there, right in front of you. They're in our policies, they're entrenched in our practices, in our beliefs, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying, that produce, condone, and perpetuate widespread unfair treatment and oppression of people of color, which has ridiculous consequences either by their health, where they live, economic, which we see today. And that's pretty much all CRT is trying to teach us. Examples of CRT, examples of what CRT is in is residential segregation. We have unfair lending practices,
Yeah.
the voting system, the different congressional districts, immigration,
Yeah.
which I'm going to talk about in my top 10 list of the week. So I'm not going to go into all of them. And environmental injustice, I'm going to talk about that. And the criminal justice system of all things.
Whew.
So,
In the criminal justice system.
oh Lord.
Oh, I knew
Anyway,
Calm down.
Shout out to
Anyway.
Law and Order. Shout out to Law and
shout
Order.
out, yeah, shout out to Law and Order who just had their fifth
said their
episode
reboot,
last
right?
week. Yep, the reboot.
Yeah,
Fifth episode is amazing. Watch it.
of the original. The original.
No, the new episode, season 21.
Oh, SVU. Okay, gotcha.
No, of the original. Law and
The
Order.
original Law and Order.
My bad.
Yeah, they're in season 21.
Dang, bro, you ain't remember?
Anyway,
I mean,
so
I want for SVU. I want the one
so
that's-
a lot of people, including the governor of South Dakota, people see CRT, critical race theory, and they think, "Oh my God, they're vilifying white people. Oh my God, and they're going to teach my kids how to be racist, or I'm a racist. I'm a slave owner, and the black people are the slaves."
Y'all
No,
vilified yourselves.
no, we're not teaching that. We're
It's
not
not.
teaching that. That's not what CRT is about. I understand, like Walter said, I understand that you can't teach race at a young age because that's what they're gonna think. Like I'm the racist and I should feel bad for you, which you should. However,
two things.
however, that's not what CRT or what the people of color or minorities or the majority of the country or people in higher education want you to think. What CRT is to educate people about the legacy of America's racist history and is a set of approaches to understand that the history of American society and race has been the unit of measure to segregate the country. We all live in a society that is beyond our choosing, and what we can do today, looking back on what happened at our true history, not George Washington chopping down the cherry tree,
Right.
okay? Not that BS.
Not
We
that.
need to move forward. The true history. What happened back in the day? What happened to the Native Americans? What happened in the Spanish American War?
Yeah,
What happened during the quote unquote Trail of Tears? What
Hey,
happened
remember the
during
Maine,
Great
man. That's all.
Migration?
Just remember the Maine.
Hey, we can throw Jim Crow laws out there. We can do that.
What exactly? What happened after the Civil War when black people were on the even playing field, and then you guys kind of kept us down? What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
I just want to say, in the criminal justice system.
Oh my
people
gosh!
are- No, but all Law and Order jokes aside, no, and you're right. You are perfectly correct on that. Like, and that's the thing. Like in our department, we spent a lot of time asking that question of how do we tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
It's a complicated answer, but I don't think it's for the reason you think it might be. And it kind of boils down to it's like, okay, yeah, like I can tell you the truth, right? But especially when dealing with like young kids, right? Because we can sit there and go, okay, 1609, 1619. Actually, I take that back. Like 840 AD, Leif Erikson and the Vikings get to the New World, right? Like that was that. We all kind of forgot about that until 1492, and then Columbus came, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's Columbus!
He's amazing. He's the greatest."
Yeah, I'm going over the grand narrative.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Oh my God, Columbus!" And Columbus was like, "People, I'm here to give you Christianity and money, and definitely not smallpox and syphilis."
Hold on. I just thought of something because I'm just super smart. People say that Columbus, quote unquote, found America in 1492. You know, somewhere around that time.
Right, around that time.
But we can go down to Florida.
Yeah.
Okay, we can go down to Florida and find a city called St. Augustine, which was founded in 15 something.
Yeah.
Something's not adding up here.
Yes.
Something's not adding up here. We should have a St. Augustine Day. 15, what was it? 15, I don't know. It's the first, quote unquote, first city. But doesn't mean that it wasn't explored first. But technically, Columbus even come to America. But it's okay. Walter knows.
I mean, well, yeah, and when it comes to America, everything's kind of borrowed anyway. Everything's kind of an approximated. For example, Amerigo Vespucci was literally just a cartographer.
My man Vespucci.
And to that credit, somehow he managed to get somebody to go, yeah, we'll name two continents after you, right? Like that is. I'm not gonna lie, that is some true finesse, if I've ever heard one. But you know, and there's that, right? But there's also like Francis Drake. I mean, granted, Columbus, but like Francis Drake was also there. Ferdinand Magellan was the first person to circumnavigate the globe, right? Like he made it from one. He didn't make it.
I don't know what he did. We don't know if he went around the globe, really.
No, actually, Magellan died on that trip. He did not make it across. He did not circumnavigate the planet.
See, I'm telling you.
Guess
we stopped.
Here's the thing.
I'm playing. Go ahead.
But like you said, like the grand narrative. Oh my God, I hate you.
Yeah, it was like, not today, Magellan. Not today.
Leave Mutombo out of it. So the thing is, like the grand narrative, and this is sort of what we learned, is that the grand narrative is all taught through European history.
Mm-hmm. It's all Eurocentric.
Typical, like more or less like Caucasus Mountain European history.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad, but it's definitely not good because their history is important to the world the same way ours is. The difference is they're more like it. It's we have to learn how to teach people the truth, and that is becoming more and more difficult just because people don't want to hear it. Because if I sit there, well, and this is what I was kind of going with the grand narrative, right? Because the Pilgrims get to America, they had the first Thanksgiving, they almost die, and then the natives are like, yes, here we go, have this, and that's kind of true. I mean, they did teach them how to do that, but the thing that you don't teach kids, and that's more or less just because you don't tell kids about a massacre. That's just not right. You could.
I mean,
and then
there's some kids who lived through a massacre right in front of them.
I mean, first of all, that's another problem. Befitting that this weekend is Easter, we tell our kids that Jesus died on the cross. And we talk about crucifixion, which is like brutality to the highest.
Literally.
Okay.
But you can't talk about the Oklahoma City.
Let me tell you what I learned.
And you can't talk about the Philadelphia bombings either. Come on.
No, here, let me tell you what I learned as a kid in church. Jesus died. He died for you. He died on the cross. He rose 3 days later. It wasn't until I was about 13, 14, 15 that I actually learned how ridiculous the Romans were when it came to crucifixion, and how especially brutal that they were to Jesus about it. Like they're like the Pharisees were on some BS. I'm not gonna lie. Like they paid for the extra painful package. Like
they did.
But that's the thing, and I think if we're going to teach kids about race, which we most definitely should. I think it should be something similar, right? Like when you're young, you learn that, hey, look, everybody's equal, but there are people that don't think that. That is fair enough, but then kids will start asking questions like, why? And those are the questions.
Teachers should be ready.
Gotta be ready.
No, but here's the thing: the teachers aren't answering those questions. The parents are.
The parents.
Yeah.
And our friend Darius Jones on YouTube said it's really not the kids that have a problem. We never said the kids never had a problem. The kids are the ones being taught.
Right.
anything. The kids are being taught all this stuff from the teachers, the parents, and the people around them. We're talking about the educational system in place. Should they be teaching their kids K through 12 in like I think like what Walter said, a gradual upward scale? Like in kindergarten, you say, okay, slavery happened. Then in first grade, you say, okay, this is actually happened in slavery. By like 8th grade, maybe 9th grade, you say, hey, some slave owners was taking some of the girls in the back and fucking the shit out of them. That's what happened. That's why you have a lot of Smiths, Johnsons, Jacksons. Okay, I'm just saying.
Jefferson, Madison, Monroe.
Yep. Like we all know that there's a lot of bias to the books that they make, you know, in our public school system, like in the public school, in education.
Thomas Jefferson had slaves.
Exactly.
So did George Washington.
George Washington had slaves.
Right, but they don't want to talk about that now, do they?
Benjamin Franklin was testing out electricity. Had one of his black slaves get killed over it. Yeah, huh?
I mean, like, see that's
okay, but Edison also electrocuted an elephant.
Okay,
it's electricity, man.
Okay. I'm just trying to say, hey, even Stevie Wonder said it. The first person to die for this country was a black man.
Hold on. First man to die for the flag we now hold high
was a black man. That should be like the kindergarten song right there. That should be like a start. Then we'll start off from there.
A black woman.
That's happening.
It's happening.
But a lot of people say that it's revisionist history. No, this is the truth. It's the truth.
Don't talk about history. We don't go into history.
Right. Stop teaching racism in school. No.
Right. Like
we're not teaching racism in school. We're teaching how racist this country has been.
Right.
The way how you see the country today.
And
this is why it's happening.
And by people saying, "Oh, you know, you shouldn't teach racism in school," and said, "Well, my thing is, okay, do you not want your kids to actually learn about this country? Well, you can't like act as if like 400 years of slavery did not happen, because that kind of did happen, and a lot of things after that did happen that affected not just the black community but people of color, different minorities for decades. And
it's still happening to now. It's still happening now. If you look at a map of Detroit right now, the fact that it's 82% black is not coincidence. That was deliberate.
Exactly. Like my thing is like you can't like a lot of people want to try to filter things down or be like or like have things to be like all put on a happy face and such and did not just go by. But like no, it is a dark, cruel, tragic, and sad history that we're still seeing to this day. The only difference is that it's more televised. You can see the things that happen and out there and such. Granted, not all of them and such, but but I can't remember who said it, but I can't remember the person who actually said it, but they said I think something like, racism is not dead, but it's just more televised. I can't remember. Yeah. I may have butchered that.
Yeah, but it's to your point. A lot of people, when the Black Lives Matter stuff started, when they started marching and stuff, people was like, why is this happening? Why are you guys doing this? Why can't you guys just be quiet? The thing is, you had this is in 2015 when they started this shit. You had Rodney King assaulted by 4 officers. I mean, more officers standing, or more of them standing around, just watching.
Rodney King
on TV. And you have Fernando Castillo get shot next to his daughter and his girlfriend / wife. You had Sterling get choked.
Yeah.
And you had Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. Yeah, that's just 7.
That's just 7.
Now imagine an entire community.
We ain't getting to Eric Garner. We ain't getting to him.
No, imagine an entire community saying this is what's happening, and you telling people, and the other people, telling them to shut up and stop talking about it.
Like, no.
That is why we march. That is why we fight for our rights, because stuff like this is happening.
Right.
And people who are in power, who are the majority of this country, not for long, but say they need to stop and shut up. It's gonna be a rude awakening if a lot of these schools, starting with South Dakota and South Carolina, Texas, Florida. I think Alabama. I think either Alabama or South Dakota did a rule that said that what is that? Transgenders can't play in a different sport or something like that. Or some of the transgenders have to go to the bathrooms that they were assigned at birth. Like this, it's becoming we're going backwards, y'all.
Ooh, I want to, because I also pulled up the chat. I agree. I also didn't, and mind you, I study history for it. Like my history, like my degree is in history, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear about Black Wall Street until I was grown.
Right, me neither. I didn't learn until high school.
Yeah, and the thing is, speaking on that, it shows that there's a much bigger problem with this country other than okay, we don't want people to prosper, right? Like because people genuinely do care. But here's the thing. The people that don't care and the people that are actually actively trying to hurt any person of color, they know what they're doing and they're ready to go, right? Like it's either going to be systematically or it's going to be with arms. And that is the messed up part about all of this. Is like if I sit there and go, okay, look, if somebody was to become president and say, hey, look, anything that is racist is now illegal, they're going to get killed. Because at that point, people will go, oh, it's a restriction of freedom. And that's the thing. A lot of the same people that have been, very vocal against things like critical race theory, teaching race in classrooms, teaching homosexuality, not even teaching homosexuality, but just addressing it. They're also the people that say, how dare somebody infringe upon my rights? And don't get me wrong. The First Amendment is there for a reason. But a lot of people think that it does just mean, oh, well, you can't tell me I can't call somebody this. And it's like, no, they don't care if you call. Actually, they do care a little bit. Hate speech is still a federal crime. Yeah, and I agree with that as well. It's a very hard enemy to face.
Darius is going to town. Darius is on here going to town.
Yeah, but
shout out to Darius Jones.
Shout out to
on
Darius.
our YouTube page.
But Darius is correct. It is very hard to face an enemy when you have stones and they have guns.
And they have a constitution.
You mean
which has been amended 27 times.
This thing right here?
You actually have a okay. All right. I
study history. Remember this?
Jones Esquire.
Dude, I have a book on the naval warfare of 1812 written by Teddy Roosevelt.
Naval warfare. Okay, yeah. So what's the Navy? Is the Navy older than the Army? I need to put this out here.
I'm not sure.
I'm asking a question.
I think so.
I think they had to, I don't know. It was just a thought that came up last night. I was like, is the Navy older than the Army? Because I was thinking about Space Force. And I was like, that's new. I was like, which one was more new? Was it the Navy or the Army? So I was just thinking about that last night.
Hey, look, man, if Alexander Hamilton can start the Coast Guard, then why not?
I forgot about the Coast Guard.
A lot of people do.
We have one on Belle Isle. I forgot about that.
Yep, and shout out to all members of the armed forces.
Yeah, shout out to the armed forces. I forgot to say this earlier when we talked about Easter. Shout out to Jesus Christ. Resurrection Sunday is this Sunday, and I have no candy, so just letting you all know. Don't come over my house. But CRT,
the army is older by like 20 years.
Okay, the Army's older. Okay,
yeah.
When was the Army?
1775.
77. And what's the Navy?
The Navy was 1796, I think. Give me just a second here. 1794. So 19 years.
Okay, so about 20 years. Okay. So, yeah. And then, okay, so going back on South Dakota, female governor, talking about teaching. Of all the people, it's hard to say that CRT shouldn't be taught in this country. A female governor from the state of South Dakota All the irony right there. You're a female governor of a state named after Dakota. And you don't want to teach critical race theory. That blows my mind. That you don't want to show or teach that this country has been through a lot. That the country only, what is it, 2022? 102 years ago, Miss, what's her name again? Kristi Noem, 102 years ago, you couldn't even vote. You were considered property of your husband. Well, technically you still are. But we're going to move on.
Real quick.
The Dakotas. Come on now. We put all the Native Americans in the they're not conservation camps. They're reservations.
Reparations are what we're owed. Reservations are where the Native Americans.
I was going to say concentration camps, but they're not concentration camps. They are reservations. They're land set aside for people that the government knows where they are. So when they execute Order 66, anyway.
So, hey, real quick before we do move on, I would like to say that a book that really kind of helped me understand a lot of what goes on in this country and sort of how it got there, is the Norton Book of American Autobiography.
What is it called again?
The Norton Book, Norton Book of American Autobiography. Essentially, what it is it's different excerpts of several different writings and autobiographies throughout the history of the Americas. White, black, Native, anybody who had something to say in that time has a spot. And it's not like it's everybody's autobiography put together, because that's just too long. But there are like a chapter or like I said, or an excerpt of every or of different things, and that way you can kind of see it in a way. It shows the path of America. It shows how we got here, and if you read it well enough and understand it well enough, it'll show you where we're gonna go.
Right. And I have another book for like urban planning and history in general. It's Richard Rothstein's The Color of Law. It teaches you the forgotten history of how our government segregated America. These are actual facts. These are the actual laws put in place to segregate and keep people of color down. Even low-income whites, they kept them down. So please read that book.
Well, on that, Kris, I want to ask you, do you know how Jim Crow laws got started in the South?
I have an idea. I don't want to say it wrong on the podcast, but
that's fair.
I don't want to say anything wrong on the podcast.
Without going too deep into it, on a very broad, very basic level, the Civil War happened, and everybody was like, "Yeah, no, the black people are free, yay!"
Yay!
That's what they said down south. And here's the thing about it. In the slavery era, I don't remember if this was taught, or if this is taught, or if people know this or not. There were three classes like there are now. There were the rich class, the working class, and then there were like the beggars, like the poorers. And then under that were the blacks in the time, right? Like that's where black people were. They were under all that because they were slaves. They were property. They weren't people. They were three-fifths of a person, right? And so after the emancipation happened and all that, and after Juneteenth, they realized that they were on the same level. So you could be rich, you could be a worker, you could be black, or you could be poor. And for the first time in the history of this country, being poor and being black were intermingled. They didn't like that because they were still white people, and they were like, "Well, we are much clearly better," which they weren't. But that's what they thought, and so that's basically where these laws come from. It's like, okay, well, how do we oppress people? Because they also came to the understanding, and this is true of everything. You have about 2 to 3 generations to really set up a society. So if nothing, so they're like, okay, we've got 40 to 50 to 60 years before they are smart, before they are well educated, before this, and we need to figure out how to stop that. And the Jim Crow laws were that answer. Because at that point it was like, okay, well, you're still technically equal in the eyes of the government,
Right.
but you can only sit in the part of the baseball diamond where we throw all the peanut shells, right? Like you can only use the bathroom that's literally just a broom closet. Like you have to sit at the back of the bus, right? Like that. You can't drink from these water fountain. You can't drink from this water fountain. You can't go to this one specific school, right? That was the roadblock. And we figured out how to jump it because we can jump kind of good sometimes.
LOL. Go ahead. Keep going.
But that's it. It was a roadblock, and we jumped that roadblock. So what was next? How did we go? Like what happens there? And that's where we started seeing a much broader yet a lot more pinpoint systematic problem with racism in this country, right? Because now we're kind of getting to the point where it's like where they started introducing like redlining, like, oh, you've made money, congratulations. Well, anything north of here is still unavailable to you. And even if you were to come in, like, let's say this house was $5,000. If you came in with $10,000 and said, I'm going to pay $6,000 for that and give you the car, and you'll give me a car, right? You'll give me a brand new, like 1945 Buick Roadster, right? Like that's congratulations.
Not the Buick Roadster.
Well, but you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, I get it.
So it's like, okay, well, that's great, but you still can't move there. And it's like, well, why not? And that's the thing. That's we've been arguing the same thing over the past like 300, 400 years. Why not? Well, you guys can't be equal. Why not? You can't move here. Why not? We can't talk about race. Why not?
And the good thing you said that, say about redlining and not moving places. That owning a home is pretty much your wealth in this country. Most of your wealth comes from owning your home, owning a home, owning multiple homes, owning a car, going to school, going to college, going to a good school. Home values, and home ownership is much higher in the white community than the black community. And that is very deliberate. Like what you just said, you can't move here, you can't move there. The city of Detroit is a great example of this. A lot of suburbs, starting in the inner rings like Southfield, Redford, Dearborn, the Grosse Pointes, Livonia, Hamtramck, those ones. Those were like the first not settler, but those your go home. Hey, the city's down there. Here's my close suburb, so I can get to work early. As black people started moving out of the city or moving across 8 Mile, across Telegraph, across Gratiot, across Mac in some areas, white people started moving farther away and farther and farther. And that's why you see a lot of white people out in South Lyon, Waterford / Clarkston, out by DTE / Pine Knob.
I work in the South Lyon. All right, I don't want to hear it.
That's why you see a lot of people moving out that way, and it's a spread in how more the house values are more as you go farther out, and they're way cheaper, and that's why you have there are lesser schools in the inner city because most of the people left, and then all the funding for all those schools goes away towards the suburbs because that's just how the system works. That's why you got to come to school on count days. All right, come to school on count day. All right, that's a huge day. But yeah, it's
no. Go ahead.
Walter. Go ahead. Walter. So basically, CRT. I'm going to wrap it up like this. CRT is basically teaching us that systemic racism is a problem, and if you live in this country, and if you go to K through 12, going to college, or any type of schooling, when you go outside and you see things like, hey, why are those people living over there? Oh, why is that over there? Why is the houses over there bad and those houses are good? Why are there more black people here? Why are there more Asians right here? Why are there more white people here? Look no further than systemic racism and systemic racist practices that have been deemed legal until this day.
Well,
go ahead, Walter.
Okay, so again, shout out to Darius for being part of the conversation, right?
Shout out to Darius.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say that So breaking it down, like once we move past the 50s and redlining, actually once we move into the 50s and more redlining.
Actually, I'll address the last comment that he said.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So as we move on, what we now end up doing is we go, okay, Washington gets this really great idea, and not like the president, but DC. The government gets this really great idea that, hey, look, we just got out of 2 really big wars, and we're kind of accidentally on purpose marching our way into like the Asian Pacific, right? Maybe we should have a way for military vehicles to get from one side of the country to the other uninterrupted, right? So the highway, right? The national highway system in this country is another form of systemic racism. And I'm not saying that like as an opinion. That is actual fact. I mean,
was it systemic racism, or was like the process of getting the freeway through
the process? So
Okay.
here's the thing about systemic racism, right? It isn't necessarily an idea it's an idea, but how it happens isn't necessarily an idea as much as it is a series of very small steps that gradually roll into like a bigger avalanche, right? So yeah, the highway system was a really great idea. It was. I like the highways. I like being able to get from Detroit to Chicago in like 4.5, 5 hours. Like, I like that.
5 hours? That's kind of slow. Well, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't want to say anything incriminating on the air, but
I'm pushing 100 every time. Come on.
Good God. Anyways, but yeah, so the process they did that, they were like, okay, well, where can we go? We don't want to disrupt certain neighborhoods. And mind you, while they're redlining minorities from getting into decent neighborhoods or the suburbs, they're also ripping through those neighborhoods to build the highways. So like the Jeffries, I love 96, but it cut right through Detroit's Black Bottom, completely destroyed it. And the thing is, at the time, there wasn't. You can't say no when Uncle Sam comes calling, right? That was the whole thing about America, right? It's like you answer, or it's even the thing now, right? You answer the call, right? Like if you sit there and go, oh yeah, no, I'm not going to sell my house to Uncle Sam, they'll find a way to throw you out. Even now, I don't know if you know it, but that's what eminent domain is.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, the government is seizing this property for national reasons.
National reasons to protect and serve the country.
To protect and serve this great country of America, right? And that's the thing. But they were doing that while they were also completely experimenting left and right in the medical field, right? Like we have a very large the biggest example I can think of is the Tuskegee experiment.
It's just a lot of people don't know about that till they get to college either.
No, but also to be fair, I personally don't think that's something you should teach kids. Like, hey, look, they gave a bunch of black people syphilis.
Oh, they definitely just did, because a lot of people were misinformed about the Tuskegee experiment, and they tried to compare the COVID vaccine to the Tuskegee experiment. All right, that's 2 different things. That's 2 different things.
Very, very much so. But they were doing things. Well, while that experiment was going on, they were also castrating people, right? Like female castration, black female castration was one of the biggest things that happened in the hospital. 1000% without people's consent, right? It's like, oh, you had a kid? Cool. Guess what? We accidentally, it's not even we accidentally. Hey, look, while you were giving birth, we noticed this one thing, and you can't have any more babies, right? Like that's what happened. And that was in like the 60s and the 70s, and we moved on. And now we're moving on in time. We moved into the 80s, right? And it was okay. The 80s is here. Music is kind of weird. The hair is everywhere. We just got out of that really awesome disco funk era. Maybe we got some promise, right? And that's when
we got some promise after disco funk stops. Maybe we got some promise. This is over. Okay.
It's like, hey, you remember that little kid, Michael Jackson? Yeah, he's now a grown adult. He's doing his own thing, and the music's pretty good. Anyways,
no, he's still a kid. He's dancing around.
That's fair. That's very fair. But like as we move into the 80s, we started dealing with what, like the crack epidemic, right? And this.
Well, yeah, we moved on from heroin to crack.
Well, yeah.
It wasn't like everything was fine, and then we went to, but
Yeah, well, but that's the thing, right? And this is also, you can look this up. This is public record. The government admits to pumping the like the inner city with drugs, with very highly addictive and very heavy drugs, and then promise to persecute them. Well, yeah, it destroyed everything. It destroyed lives. It destroyed families. It destroyed businesses, right? And that was all thanks to the war on drugs, and that was a Reagan initiative. And so that's what I mean when I say like systemic racism. Like systematically speaking, it's an ideal, but the way it happens is by slowly implementing certain things, and that's what I'm really afraid of here.
It was more of a Nixon initiative, but it's
well,
okay.
it was a Nixon thing that really got
out of hand with Reagan.
Yeah, that's exactly. But what I'm saying is like, and this is the part where like like it said earlier, you're doomed to repeat it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm noticing a lot. I'm noticing a lot of very, very worrisome things that have been happening in this country over the past like 10, 15 years. That it's eerily similar. And the sad part is we know it's like we know what to do. We're just not doing it as a country, not as a people, but as a country. Yeah. We know what's going on. We're not standing for that. But here's the thing. Why would you tell somebody to change their lifestyle if they have a good lifestyle?
Depending on who's the person.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying, though.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah. On paper. In theory, in practice. In practice.
I'll let you get into the 90s then. What happened in the 90s, Kris?
Man, the 90s happened, man. And then, I was born, so the world was a much better place. Walter was born. I mean, then it got kind of worse. It was a dark day, Then the 2000s happened, and then
I swear I'm gonna fight you, Kris.
The 2000s happened, and it was the best decade of all time. Besides the, stock market going down 777 points, and everybody losing their house, and Kanye going up to Taylor Swift saying, "I'm gonna let you finish." But anyway, what I actually want to talk about this other comment. So would that make the way they push gangster rap in the 80s and 90s a new form of Jim Crow? Who is they? Because I'm trying to figure out what they is, because basically what quote unquote gangster rap was saying, hey, this is what's happening in our city, this is what's happening in our area, and this was gonna happen if someone comes up on me. Basically, that's what gangster rap is. I'm gonna shoot you, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna do this to you, blah 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 blah. Darius, you need to elaborate more on that one. But basically what NWA was saying was a more explicit version of the message. So, okay, born in 82. I'm the old man in here, LOL, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you are old if you were born in 82.
Hey. Be nice to people.
That's going on 40 years. That's crazy to think about. 40 years ago was 1982.
And you going on 30.
Okay. And I'm still in my 20s. I'm still here having fun. I'm sure Darius is having fun too. But yeah, gangster rap. We're gonna talk about gangster rap on another episode because we're running over. I've been on here for almost an hour and 48 minutes. So we're gonna get into my top 10 list. It's my top 10 institutions that America must change. We're gonna get into that right after this. Okay, my top 10 institutions that America must change. I'm going to go through this list and give you some examples. Number 10 is the voting system in this country. We need to change the voting system in this country because a lot of people are fed up with what has happened the last few elections, specifically the Trump election. He didn't win the popular vote, which is pretty much, the popular vote is pretty much every vote counted in the election. We go by the Electoral College. So he won the Electoral College, sadly. But We need to change that system. What do you think, Walter? Should we change the voting system in this country?
This is a hot take, but no.
Uh-oh. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Why shouldn't we?
Okay, so the whole point of the Electoral College was to represent an area, right? Like, you know, like let's say we'll use Michigan as an example. Michigan has about 10 million people in it. Of those 10 million people, only 4 to 5 million will actually go vote. The whole purpose of the Electoral College is to sit there and go, okay, so we can get a fair representation of the country based on these, or of the state based on these votes. And 10 out of 330 million is this percentage of the country. So we'll take that and divide it by like 10. And that's the number of electoral votes you get. I do think it should be, I hear a lot of abolish the Electoral College, and I disagree. I agree to an extent that it needs to be changed, but I do not think it needs to be changed the way a lot of people are saying it needs to be changed.
I do think it needs to be changed because the Electoral College is based on districts. Districts change.
Yes,
and it changed. And Kris is a witness to this. I said in 2016 that Texas in 2020 would almost be it wasn't, I would say like next election would be, or in the 2028, but Texas with all the people from California and people from the Midwest, all the blues moving down to Texas, Texas is going to be a blue state. And it's not going to be fun for the people in Texas.
The day that happened, oh my God.
Oh boy. Watch the far right come back.
So
watch the far right come back and say, "Oh, we need to change this." Oh, it was fair back in 2016.
Understand. It was, a lot of things that people gotta understand. See, it was a miracle for Georgia to be a blue state.
Let alone Pennsylvania to give Biden a win.
So that was a miracle.
So a lot of people were upset that Michigan was.
Oh
my bad.
Hold on. I'll say, like I said, and we all know it's a fact. If Biden had not won Pennsylvania and Georgia, Trump would be in office right now. And we're gonna keep it saying Trump be in office right now.
And North Carolina.
And North Carolina too and such. See, a lot of people don't understand all of these, and like to what you just said before, Kris, I don't know if it'll happen by 2024. But
maybe 2028, maybe 2030.
Yeah. Let's give say some more because
if the trends keep on going that way.
If the trends keep on going the way they are right now, and even look at how living is, everybody, how many people have you seen from the Midwest or even California?
I'm moving to Texas. All right, go to Texas. Change the votes.
Everybody moving to Texas. Everybody moving to Georgia. Everybody moving to Florida, and all those places and such. Now, do I think Florida will be a red state? Well, no, a blue state. Excuse me. Hell no.
Okay.
Hell no. I don't think so.
We said the same thing about Texas, but Texas was teetering for a good hour and a half.
Yeah, no. As long as DeSantis is in Florida, that's not going to happen.
Oh my God! So dang,
here's the thing, right? The countries the reason they're battleground states isn't necessarily because it's like, oh, they can go one way or another. Most people already know how they're going to vote when they become like a key battleground state. It isn't necessarily that. Like look at Michigan, for example. Everybody thought Michigan was going to be blue in 2016, and everybody thought Michigan was going to be
blue.
Correct. Everybody thought it was going to be blue. Yeah, no, my bad. Everybody thought it was going to be blue. But here's the thing.
Who thought that?
Believe me, I know some people. At any point, I misspoke.
It's a mostly red state.
It's been
besides Wayne County and maybe.
Well, and that's the thing. In 2016. We expected Wayne County. We expected Wayne, Oakland. Basically, wherever there's a college, we expected those people, in mass, to be able to flip the state red. It didn't work in 2016. It worked in 2020, and that's the thing with Texas.
It worked in 2020 because Michigan's still red. Michigan's red.
Michigan was blue in 2020.
No, Michigan was red in 2020.
It was red.
Was it?
Yeah, it was red. It's been red since 2016.
Exactly. If you look at elections, if you look at the 2012, 2008, and the 2004 elections, and maybe 2000, Michigan was always a blue state.
always blue because the population was spread. But when 2012, that's when most of the population left.
They
and went
left
down south.
because
And that's when Obama was like this close to losing to Mitt Romney in 2012. But in 2016, Trump came to Michigan like a billion times during his campaign. And that's what set it over the bar.
Because guess what he did? You know what he did? He said, you know what? We're not going to go to the colleges. We're going to go to Ford, GM.
We're going to go to the places where people vote.
Let's go to the place let's go to the heart of the Motor City. Let's go there. Because if
no. He said, let's go to the Motor City. Let's go to Warren. I was like,
hold up, pause.
Wait. One last thing.
Let's go to Grand Rapids.
One last thing. And think about the reason why, if you think about when
hold on. Let's go to Armada. Blake's. Remember he had to Blake's.
When Obama helped basically bail out, all the big three, back when the recession happened all the way back in 2009 and such. At that point, you can almost kind of predict saying that, okay, you know what? We don't even need to ask about Michigan for the next election. We already know he won that. We already knew. You bailed out, the big three, during that time where Ford was damn near bankrupt and the government had to bail them out and such. And still to this day, motherfuckers still talking about that. But when Trump came in, won the 2016 election and didn't go to Michigan like what Hillary did, because it was, and Kris did also testimony of this. I was at class at Eastern, and Obama was at Michigan, and I missed out on him. I almost skipped class to go there, and I still should have done that. I'm still mad at myself I didn't do that. But the fact of the matter is that, do I think that for the next for next election that Michigan will still be a red state? I do. It's going to be a red state, but it's going to be a red state. Michigan might be a red state for the next.
I would say next 20
the
years.
Next 2-3 elections, only because of everyone.
Unless CRT is taught in school. I'm playing.
And like if you look at it, a big call for why it's a red state right now and why it will be for the next few years and such. Even though Big Gretsch is still holding it down over in Michigan and such, a lot of those people who were there, during Obama's years and such, or even between 2004 through 2012, they left. They went to the Georgia, they went to the Florida, they went to the Texas, out in the country and such. They dipped. They did.
Leaving the red people.
Yes. And the day that if I were to live to see Texas be a blue state, oh my God.
If Texas becomes a blue state, the Republican Party,
shit.
That is the beginning of the end. I see your hand, Walter, but we got to move on. But the voting system does need to change. I wouldn't say the Electoral College is a good way on paper back when the people made it up.
Literally.
But it's 2022. We need a new system.
Look, can I do have one or two last things to say on this. I know it's been going on for a while, but it is necessary. First, I looked it up. Michigan was blue in 2020. Second, here's the thing with
I don't know, but that's the thing.
Here's the thing with that, and I agree. But Texas recently did sign several laws into effect that have been severely unpopular with with Democrats and with the leftists and with liberals. And here's the thing. I disagree. I think it's going to become more red because of that. Because the people from California, they're also leaving. But here's the thing. Silicon Valley is leaving.
Yeah, Silicon Valley been left. They're in Texas.
No. But they're leaving more now. Like Silicon Valley is deserting itself because California is just too expensive. And so we'll see those blue votes go elsewhere. But I don't think I agree with you, Bert. I don't think they're coming back to Michigan anytime soon.
Hell no.
And the same thing with Florida. I think Florida is going to stay red for a long time. I think it will.
Exactly. I mean, if you think about
if demographic changes don't mean anything to you, Georgia's 16 votes put Biden and Pennsylvania's 20 electoral college votes put Biden into the Oval Office.
If he did not win either of those two states, Trump is in office right now. If we're gonna keep it a stack, let's keep it a stack. And what were you saying earlier about Silicon Valley and such? Traditionally
Yeah, the only people that are the only reason why people are leaving California in droves is because California
It's
is.
too
I
expensive.
would say I wouldn't say it's expensive. I would say the taxes are ridiculous. On top of it being expensive.
Right. A big ass tax, or would you much rather go to Texas or Florida to where there's no state income tax?
Yeah, but there's no state income tax, but you're also paying high property tax.
Hey man, look, they can have
Higher property tax, and they have laws against black people. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
It's-
I have family in a few different college towns in Texas, and like they've grown. Like my cousins used to live in like a very small college town.
Mhm.
It's grown 300% in the past like 10 years.
Yeah,
So they are getting more.
Boston used to be really small.
Yeah,
Now
and
it's one of the biggest cities in Texas.
they're like they're getting more people and they're getting more liberals, but they're also getting more conservatives. And when you pump more conservatives into a conservative state, and you're pumping liberals, but you're not pumping as many liberals, it's going to stay that. I don't think Texas has enough liberals to swing Texas blue in the next few elections.
Ooh, okay. Walter said that. I'm going to write it down.
Write it in blue.
No, I'm going to write it in red.
I would say that I am currently living in the state to where you will never have to question if it will ever be a blue state, because Indiana is never going to be a blue state.
That's never going to be a blue state.
It's never going to be a blue state.
I mean, it has in the past, but not now.
Yeah, but it ain't gonna be one right now.
So here's the question: do either of you know how we used to elect presidents before we had like a two-party system?
They put them at gunpoint and say which one has the gun.
Sure, let's go with that. No, what they used to do.
Which one has the bullet? Which one has the bullet? That one. Bam. Oh, he's dead. I'm the president.
I mean, you're not right, but you're not super wrong. So they didn't shoot people. But what happened was, let's say the three of us were running for president, right? Let's say Kris, or let's say not Bird. Let's say Kris became.
I'm about to say you got two of them.
Well, yeah, no, but let's say he won the most votes. He's president. Let's say Bird won the second most votes. Congratulations, you're vice president. It's a flawed system, but I think it would work a lot better than what we have now.
Yeah, I guess.
You mean to tell me you wouldn't want to see the really ridiculous like dramedy that would be Joe Biden as president and Donald Trump as VP?
No.
No.
That would suck.
No, it would suck. It'd be bad, but like it'd be a little funny.
No, Obama wouldn't be able to do anything.
As bad as
He already wasn't able to do anything in the beginning. But if you had Mitt Romney or what's the other person he went against?
But he just died. He died not too long back.
Imagine having John McCain.
Thank you.
If John McCain would have, John McCain would have been a better vice president than Mitt Romney, because John McCain was basically a moderate Republican.
He was chill.
Here's the thing: 2012 Mitt Romney was a lot more uptight than 2022 Mitt Romney. I legitimately like how Mitt Romney's been in like the political sphere in the past 5 years. I haven't agreed with everything, but I have agreed with a lot of the stuff that he said.
Okay. So Violet's tick is triggering my Tourette's.
Yeah.
So
this
is what I'm gonna say about her first comment. She said, blah 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 blah. The voter system. You just need better candidates. No, you want to know why? Guess who vote those people in to be the candidates?
We do.
The people of the United States of America.
Literally.
So, if you want to go on Biden versus Trump versus Hillary, you got to go on who voted these people into becoming the majority candidates. Not only did Trump, I'm gonna stop right here. Barack Obama.
Get some water, Chris. Get some water.
I don't need no water because I'm gonna say this right now on this podcast so people can
hear. He's looking a little sweaty right now.
I'm not even sweating. I'm not sweating.
I'm
gonna say this right now. It's because it's light. I'm gonna say this right now on this podcast, on the KrisCross Corner Podcast. Barack Hussein Obama.
Talk to him.
It's not the American dream. Not only did the next person in line after him, not in line, but the next president after him, no political experience,
0,
grabbed a woman's pussy, said that he doesn't care, said that the president before him was an American citizen.
He did say that.
Put stuff in the press to get 5 people from New York City arrested
You have a Twitter war.
And tried as an adult when they were only 6. The oldest person was 16.
You have a Twitter
That's
war.
not correct. Hey, Chris, I'm talking right now. Not only did this person beat Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz,
They made him quit.
he made them resign, concede, and say, hey, take the Republican Party in your hands. Donald J. Trump, I'm saying this on this podcast, is the American fucking dream. Not only can this man become president again in 2024, which if we do not do anything this year, 2022, he can be the president again. The American people make the two candidates. You cannot say it's the lesser two evils when the people are putting the lesser two, the quote unquote two evils for the choices. You cannot. You can't.
They put them out there.
You can't. In 2016, I voted for Hillary because Trump, on paper, was not the good choice.
It wasn't.
Okay. In 2020, after all the BS that Trump put us through,
and there was a lot of it.
Not the Republican Party. I have no problem with the Republican Party. Donald Trump needed to go. Donald Trump was fucking it up for the GOP. Okay. Okay. But to say that we have to have better candidates, we do have to have better candidates, but we also have to choose as a people have to choose the two candidates.
Well, I think also a lot of that comes from
that is a rant for the ages, Chris.
Because we had Wang, we had Warren, we had what are the other ones? The woman from the senator from the congresswoman from Hawaii. She was fine. But anyway.
But I'll put it out there.
She could have been a great president.
The fact that Chris, the fact you mentioned, when Trump ran in 2016, and Jeb Bush himself said that he will not back down from Trump, and within 2 weeks after he said that, he got him up on out of there. He's like, hey man, I'm dropping out. We ain't doing this. Ted Cruz himself got, I'm not gonna say flame. I'm not gonna say roasted.
First of all, do you see Cruz Tower in Vegas? No. You see a Trump Tower though. That's why he won.
You see a Trump Tower in Chicago too.
He got billions stashed away somewhere.
It's like, and like my thing is like, here's the thing. Trump talked all that stuff about Ted Cruz and his wife right in front of him. I'm not gonna say he flamed them. I'm not gonna say he destroyed. He eviscerated Ted Cruz in the media. And what did Ted Cruz do? Absolutely nothing about it. It was like, you know what? He has to stay true to his party. He didn't want the blue side to win.
Well, and here's the question that I actually heard very recently that I wholeheartedly agree with. And it actually goes back to the Obama era. It's like, did America vote for its first black president, or did they happen to vote for a president who happened to be black? And I was like,
no.
It's like there's a difference there.
There's a difference. A difference, however, what was his name? John McCain. When John McCain was going for president. When John McCain was going for president, he was damn near 90 years old.
He was gonna be lucky to make it 2 years.
He was gonna make it 2 months.
Hold up now.
Without his CVS Pharmacy Plus,
he ain't
making it.
The CPAP machine.
The CPAP machine, the dialysis every day. Come on.
Viagra.
Man. Not Viagra.
If we're gonna talk about it, man.
Sarah Palin was his vice president. Anyway.
Okay, but what you do realize that McCain was like 72 in 08, right?
But when you're white, you look 90.
Okay, but our current president is older than that.
Exactly. It's Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Who are you gonna pick for?
He looks like General Grievous.
The old guy with experience and morals, or the old guy without morals and wants to put this country into the ground?
I'm not saying it was the wrong choice, because it wasn't. I'm just saying, like, let's not dog somebody's age here. Also,
we're dogging ages. Especially what's his name? Darius Jones, Mr. 40.
Man, leave him alone.
39.
Leave him alone.
He'll be 40 in June. And see, here's the thing. If you look back at pictures as far as how Obama looked when he first got into office versus the last day that he left.
Hold on, Chris. Hey, Walter. Is this could be another Troy L. Smith?
Oh,
Talk about Darius.
Why is it
Jones.
every
No.
podcast his name comes
You
up?
cannot attack the viewer, Chris.
We're not attacking. We're just including him in the
cannot-
conversation.
We're not attacking him.
No.
All right, y'all. Number 9. We gotta
Wait,
get rid of the two-party political system. It's horrible.
It's bad.
We literally have channels devoted to Democrat versus Republican. It's really
Well,
silly.
it's like I mean, if you look at if you look at Fox News, you might as well call it Republican.
No, you know what's funny?
What?
You know what's funny? When Obama won the second term, you should just watch Fox News. Just watch.
Man,
it's
they talk
amazing.
about that shit.
Oh,
But
it's
see-
amazing. No, it's not talking shit.
What is
They're like,
number
oh,
9?
man. I just said get rid of the two political. Get rid of the two
Oh, I
political
thought.
system.
No, that sounded like 10.
No, 10 was the voting system in this country.
Yeah. I'll say this right now. I think a lot of people, now that Obama has not been in office now for going on 5 or so years, a lot of people really got to understand how much he did throughout the 2 terms, considering where the country was at that time, the economy-wise, and among other things and such. I mean, people really got to understand
All the good stuff he did, because
Right.
he did a lot of bad stuff.
Right. I mean, every president in this country. There has never been a president in the history of this country to say they did every single thing right. People are gonna like what you do. People are gonna hate what you do and such.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, did the rights help the country progress forward, or unless you're like the
We
last
did
president-
until 2016.
Yeah, and then it was like, and then he was like, this Obama.
And I'm not saying Trump was the worst president ever. I'm not saying he's a bad president. He was a good president for some things. He was majority bad, but he did some good things for this country.
right.
He,
But
in my opinion,
He was the worst
But
president in 100 years.
considering that, like, in our lifetime and our age bracket, can we say that this is the worst president who we have physically have lived to see? Absolutely.
I want to say that. I would say he was in my opinion, Donald Trump, his world to that's inspirational. If I turn 35 tomorrow, I'm going to do except for the stuff like say bad things about Mexicans, women and stuff. If I could just say what's on my mind and win the presidency, oh my gosh.
Chris, I want something else noted on this show. I'm gonna say this right now. I hope you got that pen ready. You know what?
I'm not writing any more prophecies on this day.
Okay, I'll say
It's about to run out.
okay. I'll say this. Don't design my own. I'm design my own mouth. You know what?
We have 8 more institutions to change, so hurry up.
Yeah, we got to make this quick.
All right. I would not be surprised if, at any way, shape, form, or fashion, if The Rock.
No, we're not. He's not running for president. They said the same thing about Ronald Reagan in the 50s, so I'm not going to say it. But
I will admit though, I'm gonna laugh when Elon Musk or when somebody goes, "Hey, Elon, run for president," and he tries to, and it'll probably be the only time where like the Constitution.
I'm putting my Dogecoin back in. We're putting it in.
He can't run for president.
Yes, you can. I mean,
No,
he
he
could.
can't. He
Okay.
can't.
I mean, he could.
No, do you know why he can't?
Isn't he
Why?
Is he not a naturalized citizen?
Yeah, no, yeah, he wasn't born in this country. You have to be born in America to run for president.
Obama wasn't. I'm playing.
go
I
ahead,
hate
Chris.
you
Go ahead.
so much.
Go ahead, Chris.
Anyway, number 8, environmental racism needs to change.
Yep.
Prime example, Flint water crisis.
Oh my
That's
God.
all. That's all I gotta say right there.
Yeah,
Number 7, the immigration system needs to change in this country.
I don't think we need to abolish ICE, but a reform would be.
Yes, we need some reform. Education system. We just talked about that all day today about CRT. The education system, as informs to how money is dispersed to the schools. Usually it's the more homeowners. Basically, by ratio, it's but the more homeowners you have in the area, the more money stuff goes to, which is not fair because most people in the inner city don't own their homes, so it's kind of a disadvantage.
If you haven't, and I don't plug a lot of like I try not to plug stuff on here that much, but if you haven't seen Abbott Elementary, give it a watch.
Oh my God, Abbott! That's one of my favorite shows.
The most recent episode I watched explored that entire thing. It's like
oh yeah, they talk about that. Yeah.
Or they're like, we're like, our school's broke, but our kids aren't bad.
Right.
We need this for
Mm-hmm.
their education.
It's so funny. It's so funny, but they talk about the issues at hand.
Yeah, it's. Also, I started watching Blackish, but that's a whole other story for a whole.
Okay, yeah. We're gonna do a whole thing.
The
hell. Go ahead. Shout out to what?
Shout out to the show Blackish because I believe it just got like the show recently got inducted to the African American, oh my God, it was like something for like cultural history or something like that, just very recently. So shout out to them.
That's cute.
Great.
Number 5, we have the healthcare system in America needs to change. And I'm gonna have a kidney shot on the GOP. Obamacare saved y'all lives, and y'all just don't understand.
Exactly. I mean, like that's like
okay. I'll put it in. It is what it's actually called, the Affordable Care Act.
Put it out there, Chris. Put it out there, Chris.
Whether you like it or not,
hey, y'all remember
insurance is expensive. Health insurance is actually health insurance and health bills are the reason why most families go broke in this country.
If you really want to be honest, I'll work in healthcare.
Say that or back taxes, one or the other.
No. Back. Okay, healthcare. If you get a sprained ankle, you bust your head, you got to pay that EMS bill. Oh boy,
Walter. There's a reason.
There's no Walt Disney trip this Christmas.
Hell no, Walter. There's a. I saw what you did there.
Anyway, number 4, we gotta change the prison system. Throw their ass in jail. Change the prison system.
Wait, okay, this is important for that.
I'm about to edit this whole podcast. Go ahead.
No, well, because everything we talked about, and we talked about slavery a lot. Prison is like the modern slavery.
Yes, it is.
It is. And again, that's not just me saying that. We have proof of that. That's why the
was
established the way it was.
Yeah, watch 13th on Netflix. That will give you the whole history behind it. Darius Jones is going off on us. He said, I can see Jeff Bezos being Lex Luthor. All right, y'all.
All right.
I said that one time. I was like, man, him and Elon are going to be like competing for.
I'm gonna watch some Smallville after this. Anyway, shout out to Smallville.
Shout out
Lex Luthor.
Shout out to Smallville.
Shout out to Smallville for single-handedly saving Superman. I'm just saying.
I would say for single-handedly saving, or not single, but for being a large reason why superheroes are popular today.
For reason why Superman is legit.
Let's not go that far.
We didn't have a good backstory. We needed 10 seasons, okay? A good 10 seasons of Clark Kent. Okay.
Hey, look, he didn't. What did I don't even think in 10 seasons
the
he
box
wore
set, the box set, Walter,
Superman
the box set at Best Buy. That's where you gotta go. The box set.
It's
like $200.
I do it.
I did that with Dragon Ball. I got Dragon Ball Z in my living room right now.
How many seasons of Dragon Ball are there?
9. There's 9 seasons.
Oh, just
Dragon Ball Z. Because Dragon Ball has 4. Z has 9.
Nerds. Anyway, number 3, we got the housing system. Public and market value pricing.
Because housing is high as hell.
Housing is a key, to freedom in this country. Speaking of freedom in this country, number 2, the financial system in this country.
Oh my Lord.
It is a shame that most people, when they turn 18, learn what an adult really has to do.
Taxes,
credit cards, car loans, car lease.
Okay, I have a question.
It's a shame. I just thought about this today. It is a shame that women think. I'm gonna say this about for all the women listening to the podcast. It is a shame that women think that they don't need to know where to put windshield wiper fluid into their car.
It's a
It
damn
is the most. It blows my mind. If you're an owner of an automobile, you should know where the oil goes. Now, not to put it in, but you should know where it is, so you know what they're doing, and where to put your windshield wiper fluid, and you know where the gas goes.
Oh wait, or better yet, how to know if you need to get new tires for your car, or to know, hey, how do you put? Hey, I'm serious. Some people know how to do, or better yet, hey, how do you know?
Hey, some men don't even know how to do that.
Or better yet, hey, how do you actually put air into your tire and such? How do you actually do that and such?
Without messing up the little insert,
the tire valve and such. Yeah, how do you actually learn how to do those things? See, this is why our school system needs to actually teach home ec, actually teach folks about these things.
I had a conversation with a good friend of mine the other day about that, and we both agree that home economics needs to come back.
They do.
No. Not only home economics needs to come back, because have you noticed that everything that's been taken out of schools, people have been profiting off of people.
Literally,
they took home economics out of. That's why you have all the butcher boxes, all the pre-made meals, all the stuff.
Yeah.
They took out PE out of high school. That's why you have more gyms.
Wait, they took PE out of high school?
Most of them, yes.
A lot of them.
A lot of them.
Because budget cuts.
Mine gave us a choice. We could do gym or aerobics, and I was like, I'll do aerobics.
Some parents were like, "Hey, we don't want you guys teaching our kids about sex." Hey,
health class,
condoms, condom sales have dropped.
They dropped,
and hospital bills for babies have gone up.
Wait, Chris. I mean, they go way up.
Way up.
Right, way up. I had to do the edit that time. So.
Speaking of babies, I'm playing.
Hey.
I have a baby now.
I was trying to see her on Saturday, but
hey, things happen. Okay, she was fussing all night.
I understand.
But number one, and I think we all know as Black people on this podcast, and everybody listening on the podcast, know the top institution that America needs to change.
Talk about it.
Wait. Can I do it real quick?
Is its criminal justice system.
In the criminal justice system.
Oh my God.
The important groups.
I want to go home. I want to go home.
But you are home.
Those who police the crimes and those who prosecute the offenders. These are their stories.
Dun, dun. Criminal justice system needs to change because there's a lot of people in jail who are just sitting. A lot of people are in jail pre-sentencing because they can't pay their bail.
Yeah, I know that, but in jails for crimes that they never even committed.
Never committed, or they're in there for too long. That they were just like, hey, you're Black, you should just go in there for longer.
Exactly, and I'm like,
God damn.
I mean, I get the fact that
you stole a Snicker bar. You're going in there for 45 years. Oh my God.
Like what?
Damn.
Like what?
Look, as much as I would love to give another lecture, you are completely right on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please don't give us a lecture. I watch court TV all night. I'd be scared some days.
We don't even.
I sleep with a nightlight now, Walter, because I'd be watching too many cases.
Damn.
You shot at somebody and shot the owner. 17 years to life. I'm like, God. Damn.
I mean, we don't even need to go into like all of the countless cases of where there have been men who have been in prison for false allegations of sexual assault, and among other things. But like I said, battery. But like I said, there's more than enough evidence that's out there, so we don't need to go into any details. There's more than enough evidence out there.
Right.
You get a brother such who will be like, who will be locked up for say 15 or so years and such without bail, or without bail. And
without parole, you mean?
Yeah, without parole. Oh my God, excuse me. Without parole. Yeah, it's wild, y'all. Like it's a crazy game out here, man.
For assault, not killing someone. For assault, you should at least get parole. For killing somebody, I can understand not getting parole for 15 years.
Right.
But come on. I'm not a lawyer, but come on now. Come on, man. If I was a lawyer, that'd be my catchphrase. I'm like, come on, man. You only killed somebody.
I really do wish I was a fly on the wall when the OJ trial took place. I really wish I was a fly on the wall back then, because man, I wish I would have lived during that time. Let me just say that.
You could just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, but
They have the whole thing. Like they have every day on YouTube.
Yeah, and people.
Oh, and it's a joy to watch too.
Oh, it really.
I just watched the end when they say he's not guilty, and you see Johnny Carter like yes.
and folks lost their shit.
Oh yeah, they should have.
Well,
They're like,
yeah.
They should have lost their shit. He did it, and he got away with it.
But we were like, hey. So,
The black community was so happy that day.
I like the fact that you acknowledge that, because most of the people that I talked about that go, well, he didn't do it. I was like, no, he did it.
He did it. He wrote a book about it.
He wrote a book saying if I would have done it. You don't do that if you're innocent. Like
exactly.
That'd be like me robbing the Federal Reserve, buying a publishing company, and then publishing a book saying, "Hey, if I robbed a bank," and then started it like a publishing company, right? Like
when they said when he actually got a chance to get the glove and put it on, I was like, "Oh, he won right there. He won right there."
That's how you do. That's like somebody. That's like one of the riders from the January. That's like one of the people from the January 6th riots and such for the U.S. Capitol, where they actually come up with the book said, like, saying January 6th, a day we'll never forget and such. My thing is like, are you telling on yourself right now? I'm like, what are you doing?
No, the thing is, they already wrote a book about that, ironically. But anyway.
Hey, man.
It's been a great time, y'all. This is
a children's book called "Mommy, Why Is Daddy Destroying Democracy?" Right? Like,
yeah. Messed up. All right, y'all. It's been a good time. Shout out to Darius Jones. I'm gonna say his name out loud like that. That's gonna be my new thing. Darius Jones, how's it going? And we got Violet Rose. They're the only people who comment.
That's not like a WWE. That's not like a WWE mixed tag team or something.
Oh my gosh. Oh my lord.
Anyway. All right, it's bedtime.
It's time to go to bed. Anyway, that's been another episode of the KrisCross Corner. Shout out to our great debaters, Marcel Smith, who's not on the show anymore, Walter Wheatons, and the other Chris. Anyway, social distance, stay safe, and be nice to each other.